Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert here from the Business Awards show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards. And today I'm joined by Ashleigh Donald, Halo Business Consulting, Best Businesswoman in Marketing and PR Services 2023.
How
How
I
does
think
that
I'm
feel?
still. Oh, I think I'm still buzzing, Debbie. What a wonderful, yeah, just a wonderful celebration, and yeah, I'm still completely buzzing having received the award. So thank you to everyone.
Amazing. So after 20 years in hospitality, you set up your business 4 years ago with your husband, but with a unique
That's
twist on
right.
it. So talk me through what Halo Business Consulting
Oh,
does.
so exactly. So my husband and I have 20 years each in the hospitality sector. I've had 20 years in marketing and PR within that environment. My husband more in the sort of front-facing customer experience, guest service roles. So we came together and wanted to offer flexible support to the industry to really support them in building that brand loyalty. So we offer flexible support to businesses, whether it's marketing, PR, customer experience. But what we do is we bring that all together. So at every opportunity and every customer touch point, we're using that as an opportunity to build loyalty. So there's a really interesting statistic actually that came out of Harvard Business School, which said just a 5% increase in your customer retention can increase your profits by 25 to 95%. So
Wow.
that for us was a
Mm.
real game changer in how we could use our collective experience to support businesses. So we launched in 2019, just before the pandemic, which it was so interesting speaking to other business leaders at the awards, and I think a lot of us had been through that pandemic roller
Mm.
coaster, as it were.
Mm.
And actually, I think that was a real test for us and for the hospitality and travel industry, which for the most part just shut down because
Mm.
obviously we were locked in our homes. But what we were able to do is we had started working with some clients, working with marketing and customer experience strategies. And then obviously the world turned on its
Mm.
head. But while businesses closed their doors, we opened up an online forum that we called the Suite Series, and we partnered with a fellow industry professional who is in kind of a branding agency, and every week we invited sort of 6 or 7 leaders of the hospitality and travel industry to join us, and we did a series of online roundtables, and we would talk about what was happening and what the latest government advice was. Some of the hotels and travel companies had remained open to offer their services to key workers, so
Mm.
they had totally transformed their hotels into providing beds for doctors, nurses, essential workers. So we were talking about how they had shifted their customer
Mm.
experience to look after those frontline workers. But then also, as we were pivoting and coming out of the pandemic, and we had things like Eat Out to Help Out, how
Mm.
businesses were transforming their businesses into a slightly more of a contactless environment, to really adapt to the ever evolving change. So yeah, as I say, we launched our business with a particular goal in mind, which was to support businesses to build brand loyalty. We completely pivoted in the pandemic, but actually by us, I think, offering that platform to bring people together, we then won a lot of business off the back of that from people who
Mm.
had attended, who could see the value that we could bring to their
Mm.
businesses. And actually, when they were in a position that they could operate again, we were brought in to support their businesses to kind of relaunch after the pandemic. And most of those businesses we continue to work with today to
Mm.
offer that support. So I think, yes, it's been a roller coaster of a ride. And I think, standing up on that stage to win this award was just such a sort of moment to reflect on the journey
Mm.
that we have come, and the
Mm.
journey that the industry has been on as
Mm.
well, in which we work. So yeah, it's been quite a moment of celebration and reflection, I think.
So your core customer base are businesses in the hospitality industry.
Exactly. So I think when we started out, we wanted we positioned ourselves as all businesses, and I think actually we've lent into the hospitality sector a lot more now, because actually that's where our core skill sets are. And while the skills are very transferable, and we have supported startups, we've worked with local businesses, independent retailers, and we can certainly apply a lot of the principles, because it's about making an emotional connection, often that customer experience, which can apply to any service-based industry mainly. I think we love working particularly in the hospitality sector. As I say, it's a sector that we've both worked in. It's a fun environment. We love traveling. We've both worked all over the world, and in our business with Halo, we helped to launch 4 hotels in Bangkok while we were still sort of in the midst of a pandemic. So we love travel. We love the socializing of hospitality. So I think we've really sort of rediscovered that is actually probably more our niche, and that's where we're looking to continue to scale our business going forwards.
So where did the name Halo come from?
Well, it's thank you for asking. Well, so we're based in the northeast of England, as you might tell from my accent, from Newcastle. So one of our sort of iconic symbols is the Angel of the North, associated with Halo. So that was a kind of nod to where we are. But I think because of our support with customer experience and the sort of communications, we really felt that the halo effect and that first impression that somebody has with a business or with somebody, that first impression counts for so much, and from that halo effect is built. So what we wanted to do is our services essentially are almost a halo effect for businesses, because we're looking at a 360-degree view of how they're building their loyalty, and we're really building on those lasting impressions. So it kind of all evolved around that. But yes, it was I think finding a name for a business, and I think we again, because we hadn't wanted to initially, I think, niche within hospitality in case we wanted to diversify further. I think we didn't sort of label it hospitality or marketing, and actually I think that has allowed us that flexibility to, while, as I say, we work in hospitality sector, and there might be projects that are purely focused on marketing or purely customer service, actually it's that halo effect, it's that integration of marketing, communications and customer experience that actually I think it is our core USP. So I think as with the pandemic, a lot of services have had to become more digital. People are much more comfortable with booking online. We use our phones constantly to kind of live our lives in many ways. That customer experience and that opportunity to build loyalty begins so much earlier now in the sort of customer cycle. So from a hotel's perspective or a restaurant, at that discovery stage where somebody's researching, I'd like to have a holiday, or I'd like to have a weekend away in London, that discovery phase and that opportunity to build that connection starts so early. And there's 26 touch points between somebody looking at a potential hotel and deciding whether to stay there, to them actually booking. And the way is obviously filled with distractions. They might go to TripAdvisor to check their reviews, they'll go to a social media page, they might ask some friends. So I think that because of the journey and the distractions along the way, there is a huge opportunity for businesses to convey what it is they do, make that connection and be really consistent with their messaging. And then obviously when the guest then confirms they would like to stay at the hotel or visit the restaurant, that's when the actual delivery of that customer experience then happens. And that really needs to be very consistent with what their expectations are through the marketing and through the communications. What is the promise that you're making at that point? And then when the guest or customer arrives, you're then delivering that service. And then how do you then nurture that relationship once they've left? So there's a number of sort of digital ways that you can keep continuing to contact that guest, whether that's sort of personalized messaging through email marketing platforms, or even WhatsApp, through social media. So there's so many opportunities, I think, most so than ever before, to make those connections. And I think that's where our integration of services, we can see it from all sides. It's not just about the marketing, it's not just about the delivery, because actually there's often a bit of a disconnect with, oh, well, that's what the marketing team have said, but actually in real life, this is what happens. Well, no, this is a fully integrated approach.
Yeah, I like that, because I think often there is a discord between sales and reservations and marketing and the management team of a venue. So I think it's good that you're drawing that all together and incorporating the after sales as well into that, because I think that's definitely vitally important.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just I think about being consistent in that messaging and getting that buy-in from everyone. And I think one of the things as well that we've spoken about, and we're a small boutique agency really, and we do collaborate with other big sort of branding agencies to help to deliver big projects. And some of our clients perhaps have already got a branding agency involved, and then we help with that implementation. But often what we have found is that some of the agencies perhaps have got incredible knowledge of brand positioning and creating identity, but actually when it comes to rolling that out with the team members within that organization, perhaps they've not worked in a hotel or in a restaurant or in the kitchen, and we have, and I feel like we can kind of, we've walked a mile in their shoes, we've talked the talk, we've walked the walk, and we can often make those connections, and sometimes in reality we can say, well, that's a great initiative, but in reality actually it won't be able to be implemented in that way because of these reasons, but let's look at this instead, and let's work with the team to make it roll out. Because I think a lot of companies, particularly since the pandemic, have invested in their brands and in their positioning, and revising their websites, but actually it's about the implementation and the buy-in and the embodiment from the team members that's going to make that a success. So I think that's where we can help to bridge that gap sometimes as well, between incredible campaigns that are created, as I say, big agencies, and we can just really help to be that bridge between the operation and the sort of idea, as it were.
Yeah, I think that's great. So awards came onto your radar last year, and you won a startup award in the Northeast.
Yes,
so you can tell us a bit about that. So talk me through why you felt awards would be great for Halo.
So I think, talking about the journey that we were on following the pandemic, I think we were in, I suppose, survival mode, and we kind of emerged from that. I think with a transformed business, we built so much resilience. And I think that when it was, the startup awards were put on our radar, it was actually the first time that these startup awards, it was their inaugural awards, and they were put together to recognize a lot of businesses that had started up in the pandemic and had built that resilience. So I think for us, it was an opportunity to almost reflect on the journey that we'd been on, this roller coaster that we'd traveled, and really putting together the application was a really almost cathartic process that had documented our journey. And we looked at some of the key successes, looked at areas where we'd learned maybe stretching ourselves too thinly, and it was a real moment of reflection. And we were thrilled to be shortlisted, and then absolutely bowled over to have won that award. And then off the back of those awards, we had some wonderful publicity in business magazines and local press. And then one of the fellow finalists in our category, we've actually started up a collaboration. She has a social media agency, and that's an area that we felt, while we've got experience in it ourselves, actually to work with more of a hands-on specialist, that we can drive the strategy and the messaging, and they can really support with that implementation. It would be a fantastic collaboration. So we've worked together for the last almost 18 months, and she supports almost as a white label solution. So our clients still deal with us, but she's supporting us in the background. So that was a really lovely
thing to come out of that,
came off the back of that. So I think that really sort of showed us that the value of awards, and it was more than just the awards night. And then I remember in January coming across the Best Businesswoman Awards, and what I loved about it was you held a kickoff sort of event. So it was an online event, and it was, showcasing some of the previous winners and really giving practical tips and advice on applying for awards, and I found that the whole process was really guided. It was very clear around what makes for a good application, and what proof you're going to put forward as to what you're backing up your claims. So I thought, okay, well, we've won this startup award. I can see the value of the whole kind of awards as part of the marketing strategy of the business. Let's again put together and the application, and particularly around the marketing and PR, which was my background for 20 years. And I think again it was that opportunity to sort of reflect on achievements and learnings along the way, and then to be shortlisted and to come to the event in London was amazing. And I came down with my mum from Newcastle. We just oh my goodness, we had such a ball, and we really met some wonderful female business leaders, and it was just such a celebration of women in business. It was filled full of genuine support. There was no sort of competitiveness, or it was just a real genuine celebration. And again, one of the things was the wonderful community which you have nurtured and created. And prior to the awards, one of the fellow finalists in the marketing and PR category, Sylvia from Pink SEO, and we connected because we have quite complementary skill sets. She's very much a specialist in search engine optimization, and then my side more from the kind of wider strategy. And we talked about some like-minded clients that we might be able to support each other with. And that was before I even stepped through the door at the awards night. So that was a huge bonus first off. And then being at the awards, meeting fellow like-minded entrepreneurs, and celebrating everyone's success. And then really it was just such a cherry on the top when my name was called out, and I was just completely shell-shocked. I had a bit of a laugh because you had the wonderful Ballooniverse company there who were doing these wonderfully elaborate hair fascinators out of balloons. Of course, I had a lovely matching one for my outfit, left that on, charging up to the stage to collect my award. I was just, I think, so in shock, but it was lovely. And it was so wonderful that my mum was there to really share that success. And, I know that she's still talking about it and dining out on it. And, we're getting all the photos framed around the house, and we're taking over the family album, I think. So it was just, a wonderful, recognition, and then off the back of that, I have been in touch with some business titles and local titles, and had some wonderful coverage in our local Business Live, and on some business titles. So again, it's just it's this virtuous circle that keeps on giving. And what I also loved was I was so surprised and delighted to have won the Gold Award, but what I absolutely loved is that everyone was recognized in that room. So you had all of the silver award winners, everyone got up on stage, everyone came home with a symbol and a trophy of their achievements. And I think that for me was just such a key differentiator in the awards that you have set up and the community that you've created. So I just loved it, and I'm still glowing from the night.
That's amazing. Obviously, your business is 4 years old, and you've come through a lot of let's say challenges because of the pandemic. But, you know, if someone's listening to this and they've recently set up a business and they're sort of thinking about how to engage with their customers and keep them loyal, what's your thoughts on that? Is there any little tips that you could share?
Yeah, so I think you know, coming back to you know, where are your customers, and really making sure that you find where they're hanging out, where, you know, whether it's a specific social media platform or how they're finding your business, and be really consistent in your communications with them. Really look at you know, how your business is you know, has a voice, or you know, are you using social media channels? What does your website look like? Really just have, I suppose, an audit to make sure that you are consistent in saying what you do, what problems that you're solving for people, or how people can you know, connect with you and your services. Make it as easy as possible for people to get in touch. You know, I think just, you know, almost have that checklist of, have I put a call to action on this? And how will people get in touch with me? How will people activate using my services? And yeah, just making it as kind of easy as possible. I think really show the passion for what it is that you do in your industry. I think that just, you know, people buy from people, so, you know, just really making sure that that comes across. And just keep going. So do a little, a lot, and you'll get a long way. Sometimes it feels like I've got to get from here to here, and it just feels too daunting. And actually, I was speaking with a client the other day, and, you know, we were talking about progress, not perfection, because sometimes, and I think sometimes when it is your own business and it's, you know, you're so close to it and you want it to be perfect, but actually just making that little bit of progress, it just goes such a long way. And then you know, you suddenly turn around and think, oh gosh, we've just moved from here to here. So I think, yeah, just keep going, be consistent, show your passion, and just, yeah, making sure that you make it as easy as possible for people to use your service, whatever that may be. I think are really good sort of quick wins.
In terms of, a lot of businesses, I think, struggle to get reviews. Is there any tips that you could give to business owners to actually encourage clients to leave reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think depending on, so for hospitality business, well, all businesses in fact, but I think in hospitality, the TripAdvisor has been around for a long time, but actually, interestingly, Google has now overtaken TripAdvisor to be, so Google actually is the second most prevalent review platform outside of booking.com, which is the online travel agent. Okay. So for hotels and restaurants, particularly booking.com, Google and TripAdvisor. And then I think for businesses as a whole, Google reviews really support your search engine optimization as well. So having a good consistent number of reviews for your business not only improves your website, but also when customers are going through those 26 touch points deciding on whether they're going to activate their, you know, their sort of patronage to you, that you're showing those businesses. So I think that after sale service piece that I mentioned earlier is having that conversation. So if somebody has had a great experience with you, or not, and you need to obviously address those as well, is to ask for those reviews. And I think you can do that in person and say, you know, we're so grateful for these reviews to show, you know, our services. Please, could you leave a review for us? And again, making it easy to do that, so sharing a link with them to your Google review platform, or your platform of choice, Trustpilot, etc. And I think, yeah, in that sort of follow-up communications, whether that's an email or text message, just asking for a review, because, you know, I think often, you know, we're all so busy, and it's just, it gets forgotten about when you move on to the next experience. So I think just asking, you know, simply asking and making it easy for people is one great way. And then from a personal perspective, you know, LinkedIn is a great platform to ask for those testimonials. Again, they make it very easy, and then you can, you know, copy that onto your website. You can use it on your social media, and maybe create some nice sort of testimonial banners that you can share. So I think that the reviews and that endorsement of your services is so key, and it establishes your credibility.
So what's next for Halo Business Consulting? What's on the agenda for the next year or so?
Now that we're award winning. So we have recently joined the NatWest Business Entrepreneur Accelerator Program. So that's an 18-month program. We're in our second cohort. So we've done 6 months. And that, I have to say, has provided us with such an incredible framework to really take an in-depth look into our business, how we can grow and scale, what resources, potentially what investment. It gives us access to a dedicated coach who is wonderful, and we are accountable to him and have monthly meetings. There's a series of workshops with various thought leaders, and also networks that we can tap into, both within the Northeast, nationally and internationally, and they've helped us provide support. So for example, we've recently started working with a business that are headquartered in Dubai, and there was lots of sort of financial and legal you know, paperwork that we needed to look at just to sort of set up that kind of contract. So just getting, you know, that advice and that advisory service from them. So we're sort of almost halfway through with them, and for us, I think we would still always like to be a boutique agency in that personalized service, and we have such joy when we work directly with our clients. But what we would love to do is similar to the relationships that we've set up with these collaborators, is almost build this sort of halo effect of specialist collaborators that, you know, for specialist services that we can tap into to help deliver even more services and offerings to our client, but all sits within the Halo umbrella and has the same Halo levels of customer service, etc. So we're exploring that, and have got some conversations and collaborations in the works. So we would love to expand that. And then something that we have talked about is having some form of, whether it's a podcast or some sort of forum, whereby we can really look at you know, service culture, what great service looks like, some practical tips that businesses can take to their you know, back to their businesses, perhaps featuring some guests to talk about their own experiences. So that's something I think 2024 onwards we would love to kind of launch as part of our sort of a business approach. So yes, that's a busy few months getting all of that organised, as well as delivering to our clients.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been great talking to you and listening to your advice about customer loyalty and customer, you know, service tips, which is essential for every business. If you're going to survive and thrive, you need to look after your customers and turn them into raving fans.
Absolutely.
So we'll watch your progress with interest. I'm sure there'll be other awards adorning your cabinet at home. And I wish you continued success, Ashleigh. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.